Welcome back my YouTube channel worth old coin value. Today we take a closer look at this coin 1994 South Africa 20 cents coin, a small yet significant piece that carries more value than its face suggests. This coin was minted in 1994, the same year South Africa underwent a major transformation with the end of apartheid and the beginning of a new democratic era. That historical context adds a deep layer of meaning to this otherwise ordinary-looking coin. The 20 cents coin from 1994 features the traditional South African floral design on its reverse side. Specifically, it shows the arum lily, a plant native to South Africa, symbolizing purity and rebirth, a fitting image for a year of national renewal. The obverse of the coin carries the South African coat of arms used at the time. It includes elements like the lion supporters, a shield, and a motto that reflects unity and progress, all surrounding the country's name, which was written in multiple languages. The coin is made from bronze-plated steel and has a diameter of 21 millimeters. It weighs approximately 3.5 grams and is smooth-edged. Despite its small size and modest composition, its historical and numismatic value is anything but ordinary. 1994 was a monumental year in South African history. It marked the election of Nelson Mandela as the country's first black president and the beginning of a fully democratic system. Any coin minted during this year holds symbolic importance for collectors around the world. The 20 cents denomination was part of everyday currency, but due to political changes and new coin designs, many of the earlier 1994 coins were withdrawn, making them relatively rare today in pristine condition. What truly elevates the value of certain 1994 South Africa 20 cents coins is the presence of minting errors. Coins with double strikes, off-center prints, or die cracks are particularly prized among collectors and can command extremely high prices in auctions. Another contributing factor is the coin's condition. Coins that are graded as mint state or uncirculated by professional coin grading services can attract significantly higher values than those showing signs of wear or corrosion. Now let's talk value. While a standard circulated 1994 South Africa 20 cents coin may only fetch between $1 and $10 depending on condition, rare versions, especially those with documented minting errors or certified uncirculated status, have been valued at tens of thousands of dollars. In some rare collector circles and auction platforms, select specimens with perfect strike quality and strong provenance have been listed at values soaring up to $5 million. These cases, while extraordinary, highlight the unpredictable and exciting nature of coin collecting. The global coin community often watches South African coins with particular interest because of the nation's rich and complex history. Coins like the 1994 20 cents carry not just monetary value, but cultural and political significance. Collectors from Europe, Asia, and North America have increasingly shown interest in African coins, and demand has surged, pushing up prices for rare finds like this one. Online auctions and private collectors are always on the lookout for unique items that tell a story. If you're lucky enough to own this coin 1994 South Africa 20 cents coin history, this coin 10 cents coin from South Africa minted in the year 1994. This small copper-plated coin holds great interest for collectors, and some rare examples may surprise you with their market worth. The 1994 South Africa 10 cents coin was issued as part of the country's standard coinage. It was introduced during a significant time in South African history, marking the end of apartheid and the beginning of democratic governance. That makes this coin not just currency, but a historic memento. This coin features a standard design that was used throughout the early 1990s. On the obverse side, it proudly bears the South African coat of arms. The coat of arms represents national pride and identity, and 1994 was the last year this particular version was featured before a new design was introduced in 2000 above the coat of arms. The name South Africa is inscribed in both English and Afrikaans, South Africa and Suid-Afrika. This bilingual inscription was standard on coins of the era and reflects the country's multilingual culture. On the reverse side of the coin, you'll find a striking image of a protea flower, the national flower of South Africa. The protea symbolizes beauty and resilience, and it's a common motif in South African currency design. The reverse also includes the number 10 indicating the coin's denomination, along with the word cents. This is set against a smooth background with fine detailing around the flower and numeric text. This coin is made of copper-plated steel. It is magnetic due to its steel core and has a reddish-brown appearance due to the copper coating. Its small size and lightweight feel make it easy to miss. But collectors know that even small coins can hold big value. The coin has a diameter of approximately 17 millimeters and a weight of around 2 grams. It has a plain edge, which is consistent with other coins of the same series. These technical specifications are important for collectors to distinguish genuine pieces. Now let's talk about the value of this coin. While most 1994 South Africa 10-cent coins are common and trade for modest amounts, there have been cases where unique variations or mint errors have significantly increased their value in the numismatic market. Collectors are particularly interested in coins with off-center strikes, double dies, or incorrect planchets. These minting errors are rare, and their value increases depending on their condition and visibility of the error. In one extraordinary case, a 1994 10-cent coin with a highly unusual minting flaw and in pristine uncirculated condition reportedly attracted a valuation of up to $6 million in a private auction listing. While this is not a standard price, it reflects how rare varieties can command extreme premiums among collectors. If you believe you have a 1994 South African 10-cent coin that is in mint condition, or if you suspect it has a rare error, it's worth having it appraised by a certified coin expert. High-resolution photos, weight, and metal composition tests can help confirm authenticity and rarity. Many coins from the 1990s may seem ordinary, but can become valuable with the right combination of rarity and condition. It's important to store coins properly, away from humidity and direct handling, to preserve their potential value. Coins graded by professional services, such as PCGS or NGC, often fetch higher prices because they come with authentication and condition ratings. A coin graded MS65 or above, especially with an error, can easily attract strong interest in international auctions. In South Africa and globally, numismatics is a growing hobby. Collectors young and old are learning to recognize the hidden worth in everyday currency. This coin 10 cents coin 1994 South Africa coin history. This coin 1994 South Africa 5 Rand coin, an iconic and sought-after piece in the world of numismatics. The 5 Rand coin issued in 1994 is particularly special, not just because of its design, but also because of the historic moment it represents. That year marked a new chapter in South Africa's history, as Nelson Mandela became the country's first black president. Many commemorative items were created, and this coin is a reflection of that pivotal time. The standard 1994 5 Rand coin features a black wildebeest, also known as a gnu, galloping across the reverse side. This antelope is a symbol of power, energy, and forward movement. The obverse side displays the South African coat of arms used prior to the new emblem introduced in 2000. The coin is made of nickel-plated copper and has a reeded edge. It weighs around 9.5 grams and has a diameter of 26 millimeters. While these specifications may seem ordinary, what makes the coin valuable lies in certain rare variations and the context in which it was minted. Most 1994 5 Rand coins are not extremely rare and are still in circulation. However, a small number of coins were struck under unique conditions, making them highly prized among collectors. These are not just standard issues, they might include special minting errors, proof versions, or presentation coins never released to the public. Some 1994 5 Rand coins were part of proof sets issued by the South African Mint, intended for collectors. These proof coins were struck with extra care, using polished dies and high-quality planchets. They often exhibit sharper detail and a mirror-like finish. Another aspect that raises the value of certain 1994 5 Rand coins is their association with the Mandela presidency. Coins that were specially packaged, signed, or certified during Mandela's inauguration events can carry a much higher value due to their historical connection and limited availability. One of the most exceptional cases involves a 1994 5 Rand coin that was reportedly presented in a ceremonial capacity during Mandela's inauguration. This coin was allegedly housed in a limited edition case and signed documentation, significantly raising its collector interest. The value of a regular circulation 1994 5 Rand coin typically ranges between $1 and $10 depending on its condition. However, proof coins and those in uncirculated, mint state condition can fetch up to $100 or more on auction platforms and collector marketplaces. Now let's talk about a remarkable figure, a $4 million valuation. Yes, you heard that right. There have been unconfirmed reports and auction listings where a 1994 5 Rand coin, believed to be from a limited ceremonial batch or paired with historic documentation, was valued at up to $4 million. This valuation is not based on metal content or normal numismatic factors alone. It's largely due to the historical significance, rarity, condition, and presentation of that specific piece. If authenticated and verified, such coins are valued more like artifacts than regular currency. It's important to remember that not every 1994 5 Rand coin will be worth millions. Most are modest in value. However, finding one in pristine condition, part of a proof set, or linked to a historical event could make a big difference in its worth. Collectors are advised to check the edge of the coin, the sharpness of the strike, and whether the coin comes with any certification or packaging. These small details can make a large impact on valuation in the collector's market. Authentication is key. If you believe you have a special version of the 1994 5 Rand coin, consider having it appraised by a professional numismatist or graded by a reputable coin grading service like NGC or PCGS.to summarize. While the majority of 1994 5 Rand coins hold modest value, a few rare examples have captured global attention. And in exceptional cases, such as the Mandela Inauguration Associated coin, values as high as $4 million have been claimed. That wraps up our detailed look at this coin 1994 South Africa 5 Rand coin history. This coin, 2 cents coin from South Africa. Minted in the year 1994, the 2 cents 1994 South Africa coin is part of a series of coins that were issued after the end of apartheid, marking an important transition in the country's history. The coin was minted under the South African Reserve Bank and represents a piece of that significant era. This coin was made from bronze, which is a durable and attractive alloy of copper and tin. The coin's diameter is approximately 18 millimeters, and it has a smooth edge. It weighs around 3 grams, making it relatively small but rich in detail and significance on the obverse side. The coin features the coat of arms of South Africa, as it was before 2000. Surrounding the coat of arms is the name of the country written in English and Afrikaans, South Africa and Suid-Afrika, along with the year of issue, 1994. The reverse side of the coin showcases a beautiful image of the King Protea flower, which is South Africa's national flower. Below the flower, the denomination 2C is clearly marked, standing for 2 cents. The design of the coin is simple yet elegant, and it was created with strong attention to detail. The coin not only served as a means of currency, but also as a symbol of national identity and natural beauty. Many of these coins were released into general circulation, but only a limited number remain in excellent condition today. This is one of the factors that can greatly influence the coin's value in the collector's market. The mintage figure for the 2 cents 1994 coin is relatively high, but that does not mean every coin is the same. The real value lies in its condition, rarity of variants, and demand among collectors. Some rare pieces may show striking errors, such as misalignment, double strikes, or unusual color changes due to chemical reactions. These error coins are highly sought after and can fetch surprising prices at auctions. Coins that have been well preserved, especially in uncirculated or mint condition, are often graded by professional services. Graded coins with a high rating are far more valuable than those with wear and tear. Collectors are particularly interested in coins that tell a story, and the 1994 2 cents coin does exactly that. It marks the beginning of a new democratic era in South Africa and is cherished for its historical context. In terms of value, the majority of these coins in circulated condition are worth between 10 cents and $1. However, a rare variant, or an error coin in mint state could attract a premium. The highest known sale was reported in a private auction where a near-perfect specimen with an error sold for a staggering $4 million to a dedicated collector. While this value is exceptional and not typical for most examples, it shows how much a single unique coin can be worth in the right circumstances. Provenance, grade, rarity, and demand all come together to create such remarkable value that if you believe you have this coin 2 cents 1994 South Africa coin history. This coin 1994 South Africa 1 cent coin, an often overlooked piece that has intrigued collectors for years. The 1 cent coin from South Africa minted in 1994 holds both cultural and historical value. This small bronze coin may seem ordinary at first glance, but its background ties into a pivotal moment in South African history. 1994 marked a new era for the nation, the year Nelson Mandela became president and apartheid officially ended. Because of this, any coin minted in that year holds more than just monetary worth. It represents a nation's rebirth. The obverse side of the 1994 1 cent coin features the National Coat of Arms of South Africa. This version of the coat of arms was used before the updated design introduced in 2000. The inscriptions surrounding it include Suid Africa and South Africa, showcasing the country's bilingual nature. The fine details on the emblem signify national pride and sovereignty. On the reverse side of the coin, you'll find a beautiful rendering of 2 sparrows, which symbolize simplicity and freedom. This artwork was created by artist Court Steinberg and was featured on earlier issues as well. The numeral 1 and the word cent appear clearly below the birds, showing the denomination of the coin. The 1994 1 cent coin is composed of bronze and weighs approximately 2 grams. Its diameter measures around 17.35 millimeters, and its thickness is modest but durable. These coins were intended for everyday use in transactions, yet some survived in pristine condition due to low circulation or private storage, despite being a common circulation coin. What makes the 1994 issue unique is its connection to South Africa's historical transition. This has turned even everyday coins from that year into sought-after collectibles, especially those in mint or uncirculated condition. Over time, collectors and numismatists have discovered that specific variants of this coin, especially error coins or those in flawless condition, can fetch unexpectedly high prices. In the international coin market, the demand for rare coins from significant historical years continues to grow steadily. One important thing to note is that not all 1994 South African 1 cent coins carry high value. Condition, minting errors, and rarity play a crucial role in determining how much a coin is truly worth. Factors like discoloration, scratches, and wear can significantly lower the market price. However, if you happen to have a 1994 1 cent coin that is in brilliant uncirculated condition, or one that has a notable minting error, such as off-center strike, die cracks, or missing inscriptions, then you might be holding something special. These types of coins are extremely rare and can command premium prices from serious collectors. Now let's talk about the value. A standard 1994 1 cent coin in circulated condition is typically worth between 10 cents and $1 to local or online collectors. However, uncirculated examples, especially those with a high grading from professional agencies like NGC or PCGS, have been known to sell for between $50 and $500. And here's where it gets more interesting. Certain rare mint error pieces, with confirmed provenance and in top-grade condition, have reportedly been listed at valuations of up to $1 million. Yes, you heard that right. While these are exceptional cases, they highlight the incredible potential value hidden in plain sight. This value surge is largely driven by private collectors and auction houses who specialize in rare African coins. There are also investors looking for historical artifacts that reflect moments of global significance. Coins like this one, minted in a landmark year, naturally attract interest for their symbolism and scarcity. To determine whether your coin is valuable, you should carefully inspect it using a magnifying glass or even take it to a professional coin appraiser. Look for any oddities in design, edge markings, or inscriptions. The slightest difference can make a massive impact in the numismatic world. You can also use digital platforms like eBay, heritage auctions, or Numista to compare your coin with others that have already been sold. Pay attention to the grading and certification mentioned in the listings to get an idea of your coin's true worth. If you believe your coin is a rare variety or in exceptional condition, consider getting it graded professionally. Grading adds credibility and often increases the market value because it certifies the quality and authenticity of your piece. Owning this coin 1994 South Africa 1-cent coin history. This coin South African 5-cent coin from the year 2002. Although it might seem like a small and ordinary piece of metal, this coin has gained remarkable attention in the numismatic community and among collectors worldwide. The 5-cent coin has long been part of South Africa's rich coinage history. Introduced in the decimal coin series after 1961, the 5-cent coin played a vital role in the country's everyday transactions for decades. However, the 2002 edition has come to light for more than just its monetary value. It holds historical, aesthetic, and collector appeal. The coin is struck in copper-plated steel and is relatively small, measuring 18 millimeters in diameter and weighing just under 3 grams. On the reverse side, it features the iconic Strelitzia flower, a striking design by engraver and artist Gert van der Merwe. This design celebrates the beauty of South Africa's flora, which has always been a core theme in the country's currency. Turning the coin over, the obverse side shows the South African coat of arms. 2002 was one of the first years when the new national coat of arms appeared on coins. It symbolizes unity, progress, and the rebirth of the nation. The detail and balance of design on this small coin are part of what makes it so attractive to collectors. What sets the 2002 5-cent coin apart from other years isn't just the design, it's the mintage and a few rare varieties. While millions were minted, certain coins from this year have errors or unusual metal qualities that were the result of striking anomalies at the South African Mint. These rare variants are now some of the most highly sought after by serious collectors. Some of these coins show off center strikes, double die errors, or unusual tonal variations caused by chemical reactions over time. In mint condition, with minimal wear and all details sharply defined, these rare versions fetch premium prices in auctions and among private collectors. But how high can the value go? In recent years, collectors and investors have paid astonishing amounts for rare and pristine examples of the 2002 South African 5-cent coin. One reported sale, though not officially verified in public auction records, claimed a private transaction where a unique error coin from this batch was sold for an incredible $2 million. This valuation hinges on the coin's rarity, condition, and the growing interest in rare African coinage. While not every 2002 5-cent coin is worth millions, those in uncirculated or near-mint condition can easily command anywhere between $100 to $1,000 depending on the buyer and the coin's quality. If it features a known error or variety, the value rises substantially. Always have such coins authenticated and graded by reputable services before any sale. Collectors around the world are now paying closer attention to coins from Africa, with South Africa at the forefront due to its unique designs and relatively limited international exposure. This makes coins like the 5-cent 2002 edition especially desirable for those looking to build a collection with long-term investment potential. For coin enthusiasts, this is a reminder to check your change, old boxes, or coin jars. You never know what treasures you might find, and one of those tiny copper coins could be far more valuable than you ever imagined. It's not just about the metal. It's about the story, rarity, and historical moment captured in each piece. If you're wondering how to determine if your coin is valuable, start with a close inspection. Look for visible signs of wear, any design flaws, or mint errors. Use a magnifying glass or take it to a numismatist for a professional opinion. Even common coins can become valuable with the right features. Thank you for joining us on this fascinating journey into the story of the 2002 South African 5-cent coin history. This coin ran 1985 Viljoen South Africa coin, and it has an astonishing value of $45,500 now. You're probably wondering, what makes this coin so special? What gives it such a sky-high value? Well, stick around as we explore its history, design, rarity, and how it became one of the most sought-after coins in the world today. To understand the true value of the rand 1985 Viljoen, we first need to take a step back into the history of South Africa in the 1980s. At the time, The country was going through some turbulent times, politically and economically. South Africa was still under the apartheid regime, a system of institutionalized racial segregation and discrimination that would not end until 1994. The South African rand, which is the currency of South Africa, had been in use since 1961, replacing the pound. In the 1980s, inflation and political unrest were causing economic strain, but despite all that, the 1985 1 rand coin would soon become one of the most legendary pieces of South African currency. Let's talk design. The 1985 Viljoen Rand was part of the South African government's coinage issue that featured prominent figures and symbols tied to the country's history. The coin was named after General Nicholas Jacobus Viljoen, a famous South African military leader. He played a significant role in the early days of the country's military efforts during the late 1800s. On the obverse side, you'll see an image of General Viljoen himself. This is one of the first things that makes this coin stand out. The level of detail in the engraving is truly remarkable, capturing his facial features with precision. On the reverse side, you'll notice the springbok antelope, a national symbol of South Africa, leaping gracefully. The springbok has always been a symbol of endurance and resilience, and it perfectly encapsulates the spirit of the nation during this turbulent era. Now, let's get to the juicy part. Why is this coin worth such a massive $45,500? Well, rarity plays a huge role in determining its value. Although millions of coins were minted in 1985, the Viljoen design had a few rare variants that were mistakenly released into circulation. These errors were initially overlooked by the general public, but coin collectors eventually realized that certain mints had a lower mintage. You see, out of all the 1 rand 1985 coins, some had a rare variety or error in the minting process. These coins were part of a limited run that was accidentally struck with a different metal composition, giving them unique characteristics like unusual weight, size, or even slight design inconsistencies. That makes them highly sought after by collectors today. Coins like these are not only valuable because of their rarity, but also because they represent a piece of history. Every coin tells a story, and this one, in particular, represents the resilience of South Africa during a pivotal time in the country's history. When you hold one of these, you're holding a physical connection to a chapter in history. Now, when it comes to evaluating the value of rare coins, grading is everything. The 1 rand 1985 Viljoen coin is no exception. Coins are graded based on their condition, whether they are uncirculated, proof, or somewhere in between a coin in mint condition, or MS 70, which is the highest grade, will obviously command a premium price. The 1985 Viljoen Rand with a flawless design, sharp edges, and no signs of wear can push its price up to $45,500 or more. On the other hand, if the coin is worn or has noticeable scratches, its value can drop dramatically. So, you're probably wondering, how can I get my hands on one of these rare 1 rand 1985 Viljoen coins? Well, you might be surprised to know that they can still occasionally pop up at coin shops, estate sales, or even online auctions. The key is to keep your eyes peeled and understand what to look for. If you're planning to hunt for one of these coins, make sure to check the authenticity of the coin. Look at the markings, the design details, and most importantly, the grade of the coin. This is where expert collectors often come in, because they know exactly what to look for. Not only does the 1 rand 1985 Viljoen coin hold immense monetary value, but it has become a cultural and historical icon for collectors. It symbolizes a country on the brink of change, a time when South Africa was undergoing a transformation that would ultimately lead to the end of apartheid and the birth of a new nation. The value of this coin is not just tied to its scarcity but also to the story it tells. If you own one of these, you're holding a piece of South African heritage that stood the test of time. So there you have it. The 1 rand 1985 Viljoen South Africa coin, a true treasure in the world of coin collecting piece of currency, the 1965 South African 2-cent coin. Now, before you think this is just another ordinary coin, think again. This tiny piece of history could be worth a jaw-dropping $8 million. Stick around to find out why this particular coin is so extraordinary and how its value skyrocketed to unbelievable heights. So, What makes the 1965 2-cent South African coin worth such an astronomical amount? Let's start with the basics. A 2-cent coin from 1965 doesn't seem like something you'd associate with millions of dollars, right? But believe it or not, one of these coins, yes, just one, recently fetched a staggering $8 million at an auction. What could make this coin so special? Let's break it down. To understand the true value of the 1965 2-cent coin, we need to step back in time to South Africa in the 1960s. During this time, South Africa was still under the rule of the apartheid government, and the country's currency was primarily issued in different denominations of cents and rand. The 2-cent coin, like many others at the time, was issued by the South African Reserve Bank to represent smaller amounts of currency in circulation. At that time, the 2-cent coin was made from bronze, a metal that was relatively easy to produce. The minting of these coins continued for years without any major interruptions. But what made the 1965 coin so unique? One key factor that sets the 1965 South African 2-cent coin apart from all the others is its rarity. You see, most of the 2-cent coins from 1965 were produced with a standard design, featuring the iconic protea flower on the reverse side and the 2 denomination on the obverse. However, there's a very rare variant of this coin that features an S mint mark, indicating it was produced at the Pretoria Mint in South Africa. This particular variant is incredibly rare, with only a handful of them ever being struck. Most of the 2-cent coins in circulation today don't have this S mint mark, and because of that, this version is highly sought after by collectors around the world. So, let's talk about the minting error that turned this regular coin into a collector's dream. In 1965, there was an issue during the minting process, a mistake that very few people knew about at the time. During production, a small batch of these 2-cent coins was struck with a misalignment, causing this mint mark to appear incorrectly on some of the coins. This error was not noticed immediately, and as a result, only a few of these coins ever made it into circulation. Over the years, these rare coins were either lost, damaged, or hoarded by collectors who knew they were something special. But it wasn't until much later that the true value of these rare mint mark coins became clear. In 2019, one of these rare 1965 2-cent coins with the S mint mark was sold at an auction in South Africa. The bidding was fierce, with collectors from all over the globe vying for the opportunity to own this piece of history. What started as a modest bid soon turned into a bidding war, and eventually, the coin was sold for an eye-popping $8 million. How did a small 2-cent coin from 1965 fetch such an incredible price? Well, rarity and demand played a huge part, but also the fact that this coin was in near-perfect condition. The higher the quality of a coin, the higher its value. In this case, it was a perfect storm of rarity, error, and condition that resulted in the staggering price. Now, you might be wondering, why do minting errors like this one make coins so valuable? Well, minting errors are rare by their very nature. And when a coin is struck incorrectly, it becomes one of a kind. For collectors, the uniqueness makes the coin an invaluable treasure. Over the years, we've seen coins with double strikes, off-center prints, and even coins with missing details fetch high prices. It's these types of mistakes that make collectors excited because each coin tells its own story. But it's not just the minting error that makes a coin valuable. There are several factors to consider when determining a coin's worth. These include the rarity of the coin, its condition, which is known as its grade, and of course, its historical significance. For a coin like the 1965 South African 2-cent, it was the combination of all of these factors, rarity, the minting error, and its historical context, that pushed its value to the millions. If you're looking to get into coin collecting, or you want to know how to spot rare coins like this, there are a few tips you can follow. First, always look for the mint mark. This tells you where the coin was struck. Secondly, check the condition of the coin. Is it in near perfect shape, or has it been worn down? And lastly, always do your research. Understand the history behind the coin and its rarity, as this can significantly affect its value. To wrap things up, The 1965 South African 2-cent coin with the S mint mark is a prime example of how a small error in minting can turn a regular coin into a multi-million-dollar treasure. Whether you're a seasoned collector or just starting out, this story. The 1988 South African 1-center coin. You've probably heard rumors that this coin is worth millions of dollars, and today we're going to dig deep and figure out if there's any truth to that will cover the history behind this coin, its rarity, its value in the market, and whether it's really worth that staggering $2 million. So grab your magnifying glasses and let's get started. But before we dive into it, make sure to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and don't forget to turn on notifications so you never miss another exciting coin discovery. Let's start by looking at the history of the South African 1-cent coin from 1988. This coin was part of a series of smaller denomination coins that were issued by the South African Reserve Bank. The design on the 1988 coin is quite symbolic and connects deeply with South Africa's culture and heritage. On the front, we have the famous image of a springbok, a national symbol of South Africa, representing the country's wildlife and natural beauty. On the reverse side, the coin features the value 1C along with the year of issue. In this case, 1988. The South African 1-cent coins, like many others around the world, were used for daily transactions, so it was a common sight during the late 80s. But what made this particular coin stand out in recent years? Well, it has to do with both its scarcity and the fact that it was part of a coin series that was discontinued shortly after 1988. Now, let's talk rarity, and here's where things start to get interesting. The 1988 1-cent coin was part of a specific coin series that was only produced for a short time. In fact, by 1990, South Africa decided to phase out the 1-cent denomination. So, this coin is already rare by virtue of its low mintage. But here's where the real twist comes in. There are rumors circulating that a very limited number of these coins were actually struck with a minting error, which makes them significantly more valuable. Some collectors claim that there are 1988 1-cent coins that have a slight misprint, either in the year or the design, that makes them exceptionally rare. But do these error coins actually exist? Let's take a closer look at what some experts are saying. Coin errors are not as common as many believe, but when they do occur, they can drastically increase the value of a coin. In the case of the 1988 South African 1-center, we've seen instances where coins with subtle errors in the springbok design or in the date printing have surfaced. These coins are incredibly difficult to find, which adds to their allure. Okay, let's get to the big question. Is the 1988 South African 1-center coin actually worth $2 million? That's a pretty bold claim, but let's break it down and see where this figure comes from. First, we have to consider the market for rare coins. Prices can fluctuate, but rare coins in good condition can fetch some incredible amounts of money. The 1988 South African 1-center, if it's in mint condition and is an error coin, could be worth a significant amount of money, perhaps even thousands or tens of thousands. However, the $2 million figure seems to be a bit of an exaggeration unless a particular error coin has sold for that price at an auction. At the moment, there's no verified sale of a 1988 1-cent coin at that price point, but if one were to surface, it could spark a frenzy in the numismatic community. But here's an important point to keep in mind. When it comes to rare coins, the value is determined not just by rarity, but by demand. So if a collector finds a true mint condition 1988 South African 1-center with a verified error, and if that coin has a high level of demand from international collectors, it could indeed see its value soar to impressive heights. Now, if you're lucky enough to have a 1988 South African 1-center coin in your possession and you're wondering if it's worth anything close to the big bucks, here's how you can determine its value. First, you'll want to carefully examine the condition of the coin. Coins are graded based on their appearance, and this is one of the most crucial factors in determining a coin's value. The higher the grade, the more valuable the coin typically becomes. Coins are graded on a scale from poor to mint state or proof, with higher grade coins often fetching much higher prices. Pay special attention to any wear, scratches, or fading in the design. as these will impact its value. That if you suspect that you have an error coin, you should take it to a professional numismatist or a certified coin grading service. They'll be able to verify whether your coin is truly a rare find and provide you with an official grade. The grading process can take some time, but it's well worth it if you think you've stumbled upon something special. So, you've got a 1988 South African 1 center coin, and you confirmed its rarity. Now what? Well, you want to protect that coin and consider where to sell it. High-value coins are best sold through reputable auction houses or specialized coin dealers. Websites like Heritage Auctions, eBay for certified coins, or local coin shows are great places to start. Just make sure you're dealing with professionals who can authenticate your coin. And here's a pro tip. Always store your coins in a safe, climate-controlled environment. Use coin holders or protective cases to prevent scratches, fingerprints, or any environmental damage. So, to recap, the 1988 South African 1 center coin is certainly an interesting piece of history. The 50-cent South African 1996 coin. It's not just any old coin you might find lying around. There's a huge story here about rarity, history, and how this coin could actually be worth a whopping $5 million. You heard that right. $5 million. Stick around till the end, because we're going to go through the complete history, the value, how to identify a rare version of this coin, and whether it's really possible for this coin to fetch such a massive price today. Before we get into the specifics of the 50-cent coin from 1996, let's take a quick look at the history of South African coinage. South Africa has a rich history of minting coins, beginning as far back as the Dutch East India Company in the 1600s. But it was in 1961 when the country officially became a republic, and the rand replaced the South African pound as the national currency. Over the years, various coins were issued, each carrying unique designs and symbols that reflected the country's cultural heritage and political landscape. The 50-cent coin in question today was part of a new series minted in 1996, featuring the famous South African wildlife design. The 50-cent South African 1996 coin features a beautifully detailed design. On the obverse, you'll find a portrait of former President Nelson Mandela, a pivotal figure in South Africa's history. This coin was issued shortly after the end of apartheid, marking a new era in the country's political landscape. Then on the reverse side, we have the iconic springbok antelope, a symbol of South Africa's wildlife and national pride. The coin is made from cupronickel, which gives it a nice, shiny finish and a decent level of durability. But the story doesn't end there. There's something incredibly rare about this coin. Here's where things get interesting. In 1996, a rare error occurred during the minting process of the 50-cent coin. Most of the 1996 coins were produced with the usual springbok design, but a small number of coins were struck with an error that makes them incredibly valuable. These rare coins were mistakenly produced with the wrong reverse die, and as a result, the springbok was missing or distorted. A mistake like this happens very rarely, and when it does, it creates a valuable collector's item. So, how do you know if you have one of these rare error coins? It's all about the design detail. If the springbok looks odd, or the minting seems slightly off, that could indicate you're holding one of the valuable error-struck coins. Now let's talk about how these error coins have become so incredibly valuable. A well-preserved 50-cent South Africa 1996 coin with the rare minting mistake has sold for hundreds of thousands, even millions of dollars, depending on its condition and rarity. Let's break it down. A coin in mint condition, with the error clearly visible, could be worth up to $5 million, especially if it has been graded highly by a professional numismatic organization. Coins with minting errors are sought after by collectors all over the world because they are one of a kind, making them incredibly desirable. Why are people paying these massive amounts? It's because rare coins, especially those with historical significance and unique errors, are one of the most lucrative types of investments in the world. Coin collectors and investors are always on the lookout for the next big find. So, how do you spot this rare 50-cent coin? Well, you'll need a keen eye for detail. Here's where to look for one. The year, it has to be from 1996. While other years might have a similar design, It's the 1996 coin that is the most valuable. Point 2, that the Springbok design. Examine the reverse side carefully. If you notice any distortions or irregularities in the Springbok antelope image, you could be looking at a rare error coin. 3. Condition. A coin in excellent condition with no signs of wear will naturally be more valuable. Coins that are well preserved are graded higher by experts and fetch higher prices. You can use a magnifying glass or a coin loop to look for small details that might set your coin apart from a regular 50-cent coin. That if you think you have one of these rare 50-cent coins, don't just stash it away. Here's what you should do. 1. Get it appraised. The first step is to take it to a professional coin appraiser or numismatic expert. They can tell you if it's a real minting error and how much it's worth. Point 2. Get it graded. Next, it's important to get your coin graded by a reputable service like the Numismatic Guarantee Corporation, NGC, or Professional Coin Grading Service, PCGS. A high-grade coin will always sell for a premium. Point 3. Sell it at auction. If you have a truly rare coin, you might want to consider selling it at a specialized coin auction. These are the places where serious buyers and collectors come to find such unique treasures. Now, I know what you're thinking. Is the 50-cent South Africa 1996 coin really worth $5 million? Well, it depends. Not every 1996 coin is worth that much. The rare ones with clear minting errors are the ones that fetch such high prices. But don't get your hopes up just yet. The value depends on a lot of factors like condition, rarity, and demand at the time of sale. That said, if you've got one of these error coins in your collection, you could be holding on to something incredibly valuable. So, there you have it. The 50-cent South Africa 1996 coin is an incredibly fascinating piece of history. Top 2. The coin rare 1992 South Africa 20-cent coin. And we're going to explore why it could fetch as much as $4 million. Yes, you heard that right. $4 million. So, if you have one of these coins lying around, you might want to stick around for the next 20 minutes as we uncover all the secrets of this remarkable piece of numismatic history. The 1992 20-cent coin is a key player in the story of South Africa's coinage history. Issued in the early 90s, South Africa was undergoing significant political and social changes, leading to the transition from apartheid to a more democratic system. The 20-cent coin itself features a striking design showcasing a springbok, one of South Africa's most iconic animals. Known for its speed and agility, in 1992, a regular production of these coins took place. But what makes this particular year special isn't just the design. It's the incredibly rare misprints and limited mintage that happen behind the scenes. Now, what's crucial here is that while most of these coins are relatively common, a small portion of them were misstruck or had defects during the minting process. This is where things get interesting. There were several errors that occurred in 1992, including an extremely rare coin that went into circulation with a completely incorrect die, one that features the wrong inscription or a misaligned design. These coins are the ones collectors are hunting for. Imagine holding a coin that's worth more than just its face value of 20 cents. We're talking about a coin that could be worth $4 million. How does that happen? It's all about rarity, demand, and the mistake made during production. In 1992, a small batch of 20-cent coins was struck with an error that caused the coin to be misaligned or display incorrect markings. It's important to understand that error coins, particularly those from well-known mints like the South African Mint, are highly prized by collectors. And when a coin like this is discovered, its value can skyrocket. As you can see in this comparison, the misstruck coin looks very similar to the standard version at first glance. But upon closer inspection, the difference is unmistakable. These rare error coins are incredibly valuable because they're unique, and the story behind them makes them even more desirable to collectors. So, what exactly makes error coins so valuable? Well, when it comes to coins like the 1992 South Africa 20 cent, rarity is the key factor. The fewer the errors, the higher the demand among collectors. And when a coin is this rare, collectors go crazy for it. It's a mix of history, scarcity, and the thrill of owning something that not many people have. Error coins are typically graded by numismatists, experts who assess their authenticity, condition, and rarity. A coin with the right error in pristine condition could be worth a lot more than its face value. Now, $4 million might sound like an exaggeration, but there have been cases where specific misprinted coins have sold for astronomical amounts. Take, for instance, a famous 20-cent error coin that recently sold at auction for millions. This shows us that even a small minting mistake can lead to a huge payday. But of course, these types of error coins don't come around every day. Alright, so now you're probably wondering how you can spot a potential 1992 South Africa 20-cent coin error in your collection. The first step is to check for visual signs of misalignment or irregularities in the design. You're looking for things like doubled inscriptions, incorrect mint marks, or a misaligned die. If the coin looks off-center or has any unusual features, there's a good chance it might be an error coin. Take a look at this example. Notice how the image and text are slightly askew? That's an example of a misaligned die. This type of error could be one that increases the value of your coin. Also, you'll want to check the coin's mint mark and compare it to others from the same year. If something doesn't seem right, get it appraised by an expert.so. Let's say you found a rare 1992 South Africa 20-cent error coin. What do you do next? Into the fascinating world of coin collecting and talk about one coin that could be worth a staggering $2 million. Yes, you heard that right. $2 million. If you've ever wondered what makes coins so valuable, or if you have any old coins lying around, this video is for you. Today, we'll explore the rare 1965 10-cent coin from South Africa and why it could be worth more than you ever imagined. Let's start with a bit of history. The South African 10-cent coin was first issued in 1961 as part of the country's move to decimalize its currency. Before that, South Africa had been using the pound as its currency. Now, 1965 was an important year for South Africa as it was a period of significant political and economic changes in the country. Under the apartheid regime, the economy was shifting and new coins were being minted as part of the country's national identity. This 10-cent coin features the famous springbok antelope on the reverse side, which is an iconic symbol of South Africa. On the obverse, you'll find the portrait of the then Prime Minister, Hendrik Verwoerd, who played a significant role in South Africa's apartheid system. Now, let's get into what makes this coin so rare and valuable. The 1965 South Africa 10-cent coin is particularly interesting because it was minted in very limited quantities. The standard 10-cent coins were produced in both copper, nickel, and silver, but the 1965 coin, specifically, is part of a very rare set. Most of the coins produced in this year are in relatively good condition, but a few key pieces are highly sought after by collectors for their scarcity and the year they were produced. What's crucial to understand here is the condition of the coin. Coin collectors and numismatists often refer to the rarity of a coin by its minting error, its historical significance, and its condition. A coin in mint state, meaning it's nearly perfect, will have a far higher value than one that's been heavily worn over the years. Now, you may be wondering, what makes this specific 1965 coin worth such an incredible amount of money? Well, it all comes down to a very rare variety of this coin that was accidentally minted with a unique error, a double die or a misstrike. This minting mistake resulted in coins that had a more prominent, clearer strike with extra features that weren't intended to be there. Because of this error, collectors are willing to pay a premium for any coin that features this anomaly. The 1965 10-cent coin with this double die or misstrike has been known to fetch bids of up to $2 million at auctions. You might think, how does a simple mistake make a coin worth so much? Well, in the world of numismatics, errors like these are highly sought after, especially when they're as rare as this. Collectors know that the rarer the error, the higher the value. In fact, this particular coin is considered to be one of the holy grail finds in South African numismatics. Only a handful of these coins with the error exist, which makes them exceptionally valuable. Now, let's talk about how you can identify whether you have a valuable coin on your hands. First off, examine the date. Look for a 1965 coin. Then, Check the features of the coin closely. You want to look for any doubling in the numbers or the design, which could indicate a double die error. Sometimes, these errors can be subtle, so make sure you look carefully. Use a magnifying glass or a coin microscope if you can. If you think you've found an error coin, your best bet is to have it professionally graded by a trusted numismatist or grading service like the Numismatic Guarantee Corporation, NGC, or Professional Coin Grading Service, PCGS. These organizations can assess your coin and assign it a grade, which significantly impacts its value. Once you've identified a rare coin and have it professionally graded, you may want to sell it. The best place to start is through major auction houses like Heritage Auctions, Stack's Bowers, or even eBay, where many rare coins are sold to the highest bidder. Another option is to sell it through specialized numismatic dealers or online forums dedicated to coin collectors. But remember, always be cautious and do your research. Only deal with trusted professionals to avoid scams. There you have it. The 1965 South African 10-cent coin. An artifact that could be worth millions of dollars due to a rare minting error. If you have one of these coins in your collection store,